everybody, Luxinda Swirl. Okay, guess what? We're going to start a new cup project. We are doing a cup eventually, but here's where we're going to start. I just got this brand new, just released mold from Zuri, and I'm going to start this video by brushing all these beautiful micas, or some of them anyway, into this mold of an enchanted treehouse. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that beautiful? Look at the detail. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, and I will speed this up, so hopefully it won't get too boring, but I'm going to color this in. I'm going to use my various size makeup brushes and teeny weeny little detail brushes to paint these micas into this mold. So we have our treehouse mold. What I'm thinking, just briefly, is I have a brown mica for the tree trunk. This is gingerbread brown from Crafter's Choice. All of the rest of these are from Island Micas and more. I'll have links to everything below. But the chrome green and possibly also some vivid hollow teal will be the various leafy areas, just to give a little bit of contrast. So we've got the brown and the greens, and then I was thinking the silver for the stairs. I'm sure that's not intended to be metal, but I may do that anyway. But the rest of these I think I have figured out. I'm going to start with the brown because that looked like it's going to be the most difficult to get out of the container. Well, I'd say it's hardly perfect, but you know what? It's beautiful. I'm going to mix up some resin, and I'm going to use my KS resin, my KS art resin. That's what I'm going to use. All right, so we have our mold. We have it colored in. The next step is I mix up a couple ounces of resin and I color it black. I want it solid black. So I will be using my Cast and Craft opaque pigment, which I need to clean the bottle up a little, and my black oxide mica powder. This is from Island Micas and More. I'll link to everything below, as always, so you can find this stuff too if you want to give it a try. So yeah, let's come back in a couple of minutes and mix up some resin and pour it, and then we'll go on to the next step. Stay tuned. And we're back. Okay, it's been about 12 hours and this is dry to the touch, but as you can see, it's still somewhat flexible in the mold. Now we're gonna demold it. Let me move this aside here, we don't need this. We have our cup. This is a 30-ounce skinny straight. I have sanded, washed, and spray painted matte black. And let us demold our beautiful treehouse and see what we got. Again, we want this bendy. It's why I chose KS Art resin, because I want this to be flexible this morning. Makes it a little harder to get out of the mold, but that's okay. These molds are wonderful, and I did spray it with mold release before I painted the, there we go, before I painted the Micas in. Ooh. Okay, it's still a little sticky on the back, and that's all right, actually. We are going to cover the back with E6000, which is a sticks anything to anything glue, because we do want this to stick. Don't want too much, I'm not trying to drown it, but I want good coverage. Spread my glue out. Sorry. Spread my glue out. Trying to do this so I can see and you can see. And we put it on our cup. Like that. And we let that wonderful force that makes every part of our bodies sag to the floor as we get older do its thing here. Now you'll notice that it's parts of it are springing back out. That's not unexpected. We are going to press everything down to the cup. Like that. And then we are going to take a silicone mat, wrap the cup up good. Okay. And we're going to put the scrunchies on here. Now we are going to let it sit for a few more hours and let the glue set up and let the resin cure and hope for the best. And we're back. Okay, it's been about 48 hours, give or take. I wanted to give this plenty of time to cure. So let's take off our scrunchies and see what we ended up with here. Ooh, look at that. That is very, very pretty. Very pretty. It seems to be attached well on the edges all the way around, which is important. I don't want anything sticking up. That was the whole point of the scrunchies. But yeah, that looks pretty good. Not too shabby, huh? Okay. I could leave it like this. I don't think there's any reason to futz with it, except that I like futzing. And I have some new waxes I'd like to try out. So I am going to, let's see, these are Art Alchemy waxes, courtesy of Joggles. I will link to everything below. This is the Metallic Mint Sparkle. Oh, that looks pretty. Oops. Just do a little highlight on our green. Oops. Got it on the blue. That wasn't intentional. That's pretty. I like that. And I have an old denim metallic. Come on. There we go. You get it all over my fingers, not so much on the cup. We'll go to the light, and that will be the silver, ancient wax in silver. Okay. Oh, that's beautiful. I don't know how much shows up on camera, but it adds a depth, it adds a luster, definitely adds something to what's already there. There we go. Ta-da! All right, I'm done fiddling now. The next part of this adventure in the treehouse, the next thing we're gonna do is put on the decal. Now at this point, on any other sort of cup, just about any that I can think of anyway, I would cover the whole cup in a layer of epoxy resin. And I would do that to protect the spray paint, because honestly, if I were to try and put a decal on now, I would be taking a risk that I would screw it up, and if I tried to pull it off, I would take the paint with it and I would just mess up the cup. But if I had a layer of epoxy resin on it now, then I could easily take off the decal and put another one on if I needed to, and it wouldn't affect base paint at all. However, we already have almost 3 ounces of epoxy resin on this cup. That's what it took to make this mold. So basically this cup already has about 90 milliliters of epoxy resin on it in this one spot. So I'm going to take a risk and put the decal straight onto the paint and then do one final layer of epoxy resin over everything to seal it all without overloading the cup any more than is absolutely necessary. So this is just a weight thing. The cup is already pretty heavy. I mean, it's a big cup, it's a 30-ounce skinny straight. It's already pretty heavy, and I'm just gonna try not to add any extra or extraneous resin to it. So let me go get my decal. I have 2 to choose from. Okay, so for my decal, I wanted a saying pertaining to a treehouse, and the only one I could really find that spoke to me in a whimsical treehouse sort of way, like this cup, is this partial quote from Shel Silverstein. A treehouse, a free house, a secret you and me house. I mean, that applies. I think that looks like an amazing you and me house up in the tree. There's much more to the quote, but I took this bit. And I've printed it out in 2 different sort of whimsical looking fonts to see what I thought would look better. I think I like this one the best. I'm going by the edges of the resin piece I poured, which are both right there. So this should be pretty close to the middle. And I picked a sort of wonky looking typeface to use so that, you know, even if I put it diagonally, even if it's not straight across, it really doesn't matter. It really isn't going to be a big deal. I have to get this off. I should have done that first. Come on, let go. Thank you. All right. One shot. I figure I've got one shot here. I'm going to taco our transfer tape. Put it down in the middle. Try and get it straight. And then work our way across the vinyl, pressing everything flat. No wrinkles, no bubbles. There we go. Now, we'll see if the base paint is good and stuck on there or not. Should be. It's been more than a day since I spray painted the cup. We'll see. No, stay there. Stay there. I tell you, these little hearts inside the little O's, fidgety, fussy, oh my goodness. I had to pick this font, but I do like it. Okay, we did it. It worked. All right, so here's where we are. We have a saying on one side. We have a treehouse on the other. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to use some UV resin to tack all of this down because I don't want it to lift. I really don't. Under the resin, I don't want it to lift at all. So I'm going to tack this down with UV resin, and I am also going to tack this down with UV resin. I'm basically going to do a bead of UV resin all the way around the outside of the tree, all the edges. And thankfully we have a beautiful sunny day today, so this whole thing is going to go out in the sunshine. And it will cure, the UV resin will cure in really not very much time at all. And we will bring it back in and put our layer of resin on. So stay tuned. And we're back. All right, so everything's been tacked down with UV resin on the other side where the decal is, and here on the trees you can sort of see it, I think, because it's shiny against the matte black base of the cup. So now I'm going to mix up some KS liquid stone resin. I don't need any special long working time for this. I just want a good, dependable resin that will harden up in 12 hours. I am going to mix up 30 milliliters to make sure I have enough to go over everything. So 15 milliliters of part A and 15 milliliters of part B. I am going to start here. I'm not going to turn the spinner on just yet. I'm going to start by putting resin on the tree to make sure I get it all in the nooks and crannies. And once I have resin all over it, you'll see for yourself, I will start the turner turning and I will put resin on the rest of the cup, including the bottom. Okay, into the KS liquid stone resin that I'm about to put on the cup, I am going to mix some glitter alcohol ink from Marabou. I've used this before. This particular glitter shifts from gold to bronze to green. I figure that's pretty much perfect for our situation. And it has a slightly bigger sparkle to it than the rainbow that I usually use. And then we'll come back tomorrow for the big reveal. So sit back and enjoy the show. And we're back. Okay, let's see how our treehouse cup turned out. This is exciting. Oh man, look at that. Oh, it's gorgeous. Boy, this is so cool. Let's bring it here and take a better look. Oh boy. It looks beautiful. Try and get a close-up of the edges. The resin settled into all the nooks and crannies. Gave us beautiful edges. No bubbles, no gaps. Just gorgeous, just perfect. I love how the gold Marabou alcohol ink glitter additive looks on this cup. And then our saying is on the other side. That is just beautiful. So there you have it, folks. That is how you make a 3D cup. Let us take it out in the sunshine and see how it looks there with all the sparkles on full display. Thanks everyone. Stay safe. I'll see you in the next video, but don't go away.